Soccer was a big part of my life growing up, but I never realized how fortunate I was to have a pair of cleats and a team to play on, or a coach to look up to. For the last 10 years, Open Field has created life-changing experiences for youth in low-income neighborhoods to play the game they love, and so much more. In Pittsburgh, we connect immigrant and refugee youth with coach mentors who combine life skills learning with fun soccer games. In Cameroon, we promote health, education, gender equity, and peace for thousands of youth. This is our story. Now let's take it back to the beginning. So it's getting pretty crazy here, as you can see, as we pack our suitcases to take to Cameroon. We got a box full of shoes, school supplies, toothbrushes for the family. You just come over here, you gotta see everything. It's pretty crazy. This is all the support of the Pittsburgh and Wayland communities. All packed up and ready to go.
Then the Global Support Network, and that is the CFDP. Kumba, of course, speaks hope for sports in Cameroon, as they obviously preach awareness and open their opportunities to the Cameroonians out here. We shall hear them inside this edition.
Yesterday we had an after-school session at GBHS Kosala, where I got to see a young Akon Caroline in action with her youth, using sport as a tool to bring people together, which, as you said, as you opened the program with, is divided. As divisive as sport can be, it can also be used to bring people together. So that's what I've seen this week.
This was my first time being on the radio. And what a great experience to be able to connect with so many people and spread the word about our new initiative. But wait. To get to the real beginning of this story, we gotta go back even further. I will never forget the first time I landed in Cameroon and I got off that plane and felt the intense heat of the late afternoon sun. And finally, when I got to Kumba, I couldn't get over the poverty that I saw. Everybody was working hard, whether they were 5 years old or 55 years old. Everyone had to struggle. But I was also amazed by the community that I saw. I remember the first time I met Peter Ngwane. This was back in 2006 when I was an engineering student at the University of Dayton, spending a summer in Cameroon working on a water project. Happy to say we're standing here with some of the gentlemen from the Lumbi Umbu Water Management Committee. Myself, I'm Justin Forzano from the University of Dayton. And this is I went to use a payphone on the side of the road. And there I bumped into this gentleman and we immediately became friends. And it wasn't long after that, Peter and I spent some time together in that first year when I was in Cameroon. And he shared with me his vision for a bright future for his country and how young people were the answer. And his generation and the generation that came after him would be the ones who would change Cameroon for the better. I was inspired. Little did I know, years later, we would be founding Open Field.
Open Field, then Cameroon Football Development Program, was created with a vision to leverage football as a sustainable platform for development and to impact the lives of youths in Cameroon.
Growing up in Cameroon, one of your first exposures to sports is soccer, right? Soccer, football is what everyone watched, everyone played. One of my earliest memories around sports was watching the local team compete in local tournaments in my neighborhood. Also, something that really stands out to me as a kid growing up when it comes to sports was watching the Cameroonian men's soccer team compete in the 1990 World Cup and actually go on to advance to the quarterfinals, which at the time was the furthest any African country had ever gone in a tournament. So obviously soccer, football was a big part of the culture growing up. However, things that we take for granted when it comes to sports in America today are challenging, right? So access to structured programs, access to equipment, access to gear, footballs, different things like that are not necessarily available to everyone.
Before we began our programming, we were able to survey the community and assess the needs. We were able to mobilize some young adults who served as volunteers and others who are still serving as volunteers in implementing our football and educative sessions in some selected schools and youth camps around Kumba and some vicinities.
My experience working with Open Field in the early days was not really that easy. We got involved in 2 schools. That was GPS Kamlikum and GBHS Kosala. We're running after school sessions where we carry balls in the bags and in our bag from one school to another. And then we usually organize what we say youth camps. We go from different communities to another to organize youth camp.
That's very good. That's very good. Shout!
I remember the first day I joined Open Field. I still remember the Open Field leaders walking into my school with a bag of balls. That immediately sparked my interest. But after I joined the organization, I quickly realized that Open Field was a lot more than just soccer. I was amazed at how much I was able to learn from the organization. I am David Inau, and I am one of the first participants of Open Field in Cameroon.
And that was the beginning of what would become Open Field today. In 2010, when I returned from my first trip to Cameroon, I got an email from a coach in Montreal, the infamous Coach Isabelle, expressing an interest to get her players involved.
I wanted to get my soccer teams, both the male and female senior teams that I was working with, to give back to the community. So I started looking online for a soccer program or some kind of organization that used soccer to give back to the community. And I fell on the Cameroon Football Development Program's website. And it was meant to be. I contacted the program. We started off very simple. Maybe we can collect some equipment, and that snowballed from collecting equipment to going to Cameroon.
Coach Isabelle and FS Salaberry spent a few weeks in Cameroon in the summer of 2011. They trained our coaches, they worked with our staff, and they made quite an impact.
I can say with 100% certainty that our players came back as completely different people. I saw the change in the players prior to leaving and when we came back, both on and off the pitch. Our experience there kind of allowed us to understand how important sport is in the development of everyone. The sport brought us together, and the sport makes us better.
It was amazing working with Coach Isabelle. I really learned a lot, how to build voice, how to work, how to manage youths, and how to control your players, and how to work with youth in your communities.
Working with Coach Isabelle and her FSS team from Canada helped improve everyone's skill and was a life-changing experience. We became better coaches and role models for youths, and this experience gives us more structure as we expanded our programming into the second year, 2011, to work with 8 schools, including the Women Empowerment Center in Kumba.
That trip in 2011 laid the groundwork for the organization to grow. and also began working with the Women's Empowerment Center.
Most of the challenges young girls and women face in Cameroon is lack of education. Most girls are not given the opportunities to study, unlike men. Most African fathers will prefer to educate their male children, and they think women are good for early marriages or they are kept in the kitchen. Girls in Cameroon also suffered from violence, sexual violence, physical violence, cultural violence, and even discrimination in the family.
My experience working with Open Field in the early days was that of how to get the girls in my community involved in our programs. I come from a community made up of peasants. So what they believe is that a girl child do just the domestic work in the house and help the mother in the kitchen. Sport and football wasn't in their line of duties. So to convince the parents and the girls to know that our program is for both girls and boys was not really that easy. But working in my community as a community leader, I become a role model. So some of the young girls in my community look upon me, and the parents, seeing what I'm doing, convince some of the parents to send their girl child to Open Field programs.
In 2013, we expanded our programs to 12 schools.
And on behalf of the administration and the principal of the school, I'm very grateful for Canton Youth Soccer for their gift that they have given my students today. And I will not go without thanking immensely the CFDP, that is the Cameroon Football Development Program, for their immense job for what they have been putting on in Cameroon, in Kumba and Cameroon at large. I think they have been educating the students through their life skills, the life skills program like HIV and AIDS, self-respect and self-confidence. All through all this life skill program have been educating the youth immensely, and I think through those who have been going wayward and have now been shaped in the society of Kumba.
My name is Arthur Collins. I'm in 2A. I'm attending GBHS Kusala. I come to CFDP because this CFDP helped me to know what I didn't know, like make me to know how to set my goals and how to achieve them. It helped me to know the things that I'm going to do that is going to affect me and the surrounding, not the things that is going to good in my side and bad for the surroundings.
My name is Ethan Obendip. I attend CFDP GSS in Gamli Kumkumba. CFDP is a good program because it helps you to develop your life, your morals and education. CFDP also helps you to control your anger.
My name is Ebot Angela. I came here because the program helped me a lot with my careers and to what I want to be in future. That's why I love attending the program.
I attend CFDP GSS Kamlikum. I've been a member for about 2 years now. And CFDP is a very nice program. They help youth of our age group in many ways, like the advices they give us, like help us to make better decisions and help us to control ourselves in many ways.
I went to Kumba, Cameroon in the summer of 2013. My job when I was there was to work with Open Field's staff to set up the inaugural Youth Enrichment Football League.
There are two things that I told you at the beginning of this game that are important when it comes to the environment. There is one thing that we want to do, that we need to do with our environment, and there's something that we don't want to do.
Teams from clubs around Kumba participated in this league, but it was about way more than just football.
In 2013, I had the opportunity to go to Cameroon and met many of our staff that are still there today. I had an opportunity to be there for our end of the year tournament in which kids came into Kumba from about 9 different neighborhoods. So it was an incredibly exciting day, and it was really moving to see firsthand how our programs impact the lives of so many.
With our first international grant from the Rotary Foundation, made possible through sponsorship and partnership with the Pittsburgh East Rotary Club, we were well on our way. We began growing our leagues in Kumba. And this was also made possible because of the equipment donations that we received from soccer communities in Pittsburgh and in Wheeling, West Virginia. In 2014, we were granted access to Street Football World, becoming one of 120 plus organizations around the world using soccer to change lives. As a member of Street Football World, we became eligible to apply to the FIFA Foundation for funding.
We expanded our programming to 3 sites, one in the Northwest region, that is Bamenda, and with the assistance of a Peace Corps volunteer, we were able to carry out training on HIV and AIDS prevention in Doom Village, and we implemented programs in Mamfe in the Southwest region as well.
At the end of 2015, we brought the champions from each community together to play in our first ever Super Cup.
Super Cup is your event, it's our event. It's equally an event for the community of Bamenda, and we want to thank Street Football World, FIFA Football for Hope. We want to thank all our supporters from the US. We want to thank most especially some of our board members who have made this thing come to fruition.
The Cameroon Football Development Program has come to mark a historic moment here within this community, as we hope in the nearest future Bamenda is also going to have a debut of the youth enrichment league that is going on in these other respective communities.
My name is Tabe Bot Besem Jev. I am the captain of Shafusa FC. What I have benefited is I have learned to respect, to be disciplined, to be punctual, and also how to lead a club respectively.
2015 Super Cup, it will impact the youth because they are the one officiate their matches. They are the one giving out the message, the life skill message to their peers. So, and they are the one going back to their community to re-educate and teach them the life skill topic. It was really amazing.
– 2015 was a really exciting year for growth for the organization. We brought on new staff in Cameroon and new board members in the US. We also had interns who joined our offices in both countries as well. We had young people coming up from our programs who became more involved in leadership roles in Cameroon. And we also had university students joining us in the Pittsburgh office and traveling to Cameroon.
Before I joined Open Field, I wasn't a good coach. Today, I'm a mentor to leaders, most especially our community leaders that are working in each of our communities.
I was president of the Open Field Club in my school. I helped Coach Wallace with coordinating my peers and leading our efforts. We placed first in 2 competitions hosted by the organization. After a couple of years leading the programs in the field, I joined the staff in the office as an intern. It was during this time that I had one of the most important conversations in my life, the conversation I had with Justin about coming to the US. He told me everything was possible and that I just needed to keep working hard and I can achieve everything I wanted to. It was because of that experience, that conversation, and what I had going on in the office that I can say I am here today, all thanks to Open Field.
Going to Cameroon a couple of summers ago was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Seeing the organization in action, the passion that the staff have for what they do, and how really impactful everything that we bring is to the kids in that community is something else. It was just a wonderful time also. Built great memories, really great friendships, and hope to go back someday.
Our first grant from FIFA allowed us to expand our boys' leagues across the country. Our second grant from FIFA, which provided support in 2016 and 2017, allowed us to expand our girls' program.
Working in our organization as a woman, I felt somehow depressed because our programs were centered on male. So we thought we were being biased. But in 2016, we had the opportunity to organize a female Super Cup. At that moment, the youth were very excited. They feel with joy to benefit from open field programs. We organized programs, topics, and skills that could impact women, that could become role models in society.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the regional finals of the Cameroon Football Development Program plus 7 model female tournament, the second of its kind in Cameroon and the first of its kind within the Cameroon terrain as far as the organization of the African Women's Cup of Nations is concerned.
Those women did not only participate in our programs, they had the opportunity to travel from Kumba to Limbe to watch the African Women Tournament that was organized. As during that period, those youths were so happy. Those girls have become ambassadors, they have become independent women, and most of them have become role models in their community.
UN, na city they draw for we now. They want burn all our villages them. Then they say they want to do we. Na see what did happen. Na cook this.
All right, it's time now for Focus, and today we have a report on the tensions in Cameroon's English-speaking regions. Anglophones say they're being treated as second-class citizens. Lawyers were the first to take action, protesting against the use of French in courts. Then, teachers went on strike. Last month, several people were killed during a protest in Bamenda, the country's largest Anglophone city.
A nation sliding towards civil war. That's the warning from West Africa, and yet a war the world has barely taken notice of.
In the past 4 years, the English-speaking part of Cameroon has witnessed a devastating war, and that has ravaged. It has teared down social cohesion and destabilized communities, rendering hundreds homeless, thousands displaced, and women and children faced with starvation and hunger. Kidnapping for ransom, gruesome killings, and sporadic attacks are just rampant. Schools are disrupted, and insecurity is looming in the air. This has caused untold economic hardship and stagnation.
The crisis that broke up in Cameroon because the Anglophones felt they were being marginalized, and most of the citizens have been displaced because most of them, their houses have been burned, some of them are homeless. And women are the most affected because most of them have suffered from rape. Most of them have become victims of early marriages, unwanted pregnancies, and even high mortality rate because of lack of medical care.
Cannot go to the field because we go to the field, we feel they're afraid to come and the gunshot disturbs, and that's why we go back to indoor and indoor program. So the crisis have really affected us seriously.
After months of the office being shut down and weeks of uncertainty, we began to timidly resume our programs. None of us were really sure how things would look. With schools being shut down and many businesses not being able to operate, it was really unclear where we would be able to go from here. Our committed team in Cameroon had their finger on the pulse of what was happening in the country and was able to respond with programs accordingly.
Faced with this dire and precarious situation, Open Field braved the odds despite the threats to continue in its humanitarian efforts to preach peace and build social cohesion in devastated communities.
Considering everything going on in the country, and with so many unknowns, we knew we needed to rethink our approach. With this, we created a new model that put youth at the center and gave them an active voice. Our youth-led, neighborhood-based leagues that came out of this rethinking created an opportunity for youth to take an active leadership role and make direct impact in their community. Our 5-on-5 leagues would now be played in the neighborhoods where kids live, so transportation wouldn't be an issue. The youth would become coaches and team captains and referees and match delegates. They would organize community service projects in their neighborhood, so they wouldn't have to go far, not only to learn skills, but also to make a real impact. After several years of creating life-changing experiences and opportunities for youth in Cameroon, and with the success of our new model, our youth-led, neighborhood-based approach to soccer for social impact, we realized we were onto something. And looking around at our home base here in Pittsburgh, we knew we had to bring the model here to serve youth in our community.
Outside of Open Field, I also coach my son's Dynamo soccer team. We've had a great team together for the last several years, and watching them grow through soccer has been tremendous. Seeing that play out and recognizing that not all youth in the Pittsburgh area have that same type of experience really made the idea of shifting our focus from our mission overseas to include Pittsburgh just was something we had to do. And as soon as we began to do that work, it took off.
And this is when we began our plans to expand from Cameroon to Pittsburgh and bring Open Field home.
My name's Hamadi, I'm 17. I'm a junior leader for Open Field, and I live in Brighton Heights, right behind Northview Heights.
What we do is gather all the youth from like 14 to like 7, and we help them learn basic skills of soccer, how to communicate with each other, teamwork.
I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should respect our planet. 1, it's the only home we have. 2, it provides us with food and water. 3, it gives us...
What I do here at Open Field is I help out with the youth. We play soccer, and we just have fun.
And this program has really taught me how to be responsible, become a better man, more life lessons, how to be a better influence to the younger people, and just how to be a better model overall.
Good game. Good game.
Good game.
I have amazing moments every time I come here. Kids are actually really awesome. Have fun with them almost all the time.
Pra me curar, pra me afastar de todo mal. Para raio, bete branca, açapês, abre caminho, patchouli, para raio, bete branca, assa peixe, abre caminho, bate o livro.
In 2019, we got a grant from the United Nations Development Program. This project gave us the opportunity to work with over 900 youths and 100 girls who were internally displaced in over 12 implementation communities in the Northwest and in the Southwest regions. The results that were obtained has contributed significantly to rekindle hope in the face of these youths, and it has resonated the establishment of these youths adopting roles as peace ambassadors in two regions of Cameroon, that is in the Northwest and in the Southwest region.
When faced with challenges over the years, our team has always risen to the occasion. We've continued to overcome obstacles, and COVID-19 was no different. We wanted to respond quickly, so we created a virtual program to connect with our youth.
Challenging, and so we wanted to come up with a solution. And so what we want to do is connect with you every week via video. And we're going to share with you a physical activity, something that you can do right in your house, and also a life skill topic, something that you can reflect on and think about.
When the time was right, in addition to our virtual programming, we got back in the field.
I will play fair. I respect my teammates. I will have fun.
And finally tonight, there are some very special soccer matches taking place in the West End. It's the culmination of 8 weeks worth of work for the kids in the open field programs in Northview and Crafton Heights. Organizers say today's matches are a celebration not just of what the players learned on the field, but how they can be leaders off the field too.
Meanwhile, in Cameroon, our team organized the Super Cup.
Our Super Cup 2020 was indeed a life-changing event for many of the youth. It was a clear exhibition of the message we preach throughout our programming, which has to do on peace and social cohesion, and which culminated with various finals for the girls and the boys in different disciplines on the Metakwata football field. It was indeed a moment of truth and a moment where our youths exhibited their new role as peace ambassadors, as new leaders in driving and contributing in enhancing peace within our communities.
I've always loved the quote by Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
I've always been a proponent for not only developing a player, but developing a person. I was not afraid to bench my superstar goal scorer because they didn't show up to practice. To me, you not showing up to practice, you are showing disrespect to your teammates, you are showing disrespect to the coach. It's these lessons that we glean from each element of the game that can define us. Sport is our chance to make better people out of our players. I think it's our responsibility as coaches, it's our responsibility as mentors to make sure that we take the time we need to teach the right lessons. I think it's time to go back to what do we want our players to represent off the pitch as much as we want them to represent it on the pitch.
I think Nelson Mandela once said it best. He has this awesome quote that goes, "Sports has the power to inspire. Sports has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. And sports speaks to children in a language that they understand." And I think that summarizes what kids get out of this program and what it means to them better than anything else. But all of them love developing friendships. They all love being outside and playing and taking part in all the other mini games that we do. For them, having a safe place to do that in neighborhoods that aren't always safe and don't always provide them those opportunities, I think, just getting outside and having fun is the most important thing for the kids.
So perhaps the biggest thing that I took away from my experience in Cameroon was seeing and learning from people there how life is better when you live it for others.
From the very start of our operation and our vision, we have always geared towards improving the life of vulnerable youths. David's transition through open field as a young leader to now a college graduate is a glaring example of the much we can achieve with the very little we have. Many, like David, are lingering in our community, and we are just doing the very best in our work out here to rekindle their hope.
As you can see, a lot of things have happened in the last 10 years. A lot of things have changed, and some things are still the same. We're still shipping equipment to Cameroon. This time it just looks a little different. So many people have made open field possible. And to you, I want to say thank you. For everyone who's been on this journey with us for the last 10 years, I want to say thank you. And if you're just meeting us here now, I want to invite you to be a part of the next 10 years.